How about that now? Does that work? I hope it has. If it hasn't, I do apologise, but I guess we'll start us off again. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our Tier 1 Round 9 here at Baku. Once again, just waiting for everybody to get into the lobby, and I'll see if I can find for you what might be the hold-up. Thank you, Venti, for letting me know. If you can let me know now if I can or cannot be heard. Change my broadcast settings. Yeah, I have adjusted that. I have adjusted my broadcast settings. I can play around with them as we are readying up in the lobby as we do speak. If there's anyone more reliable, then yes, Venti, you are very, very, very silly indeed. Let me guess. Did you have your phone on mute? I'm guessing you had your phone on mute. That's my prediction. Oh my god, he had the stream paused. Well, look, I was wrong that he had his phone on mute. And if anybody who is a driver or engineering or anything could let us know what the weather might look like for the race, that would be amazing. If not, well, I guess we'll have to suffer. And GLX with the you can hear me, unfortunately. Oh, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate that you can hear me, I know. Well, Venti, as I know that you're probably working, yeah, I would say you're not the man. You're not going to be the weatherman, and it does look dry, at least for our first session, and we'll see if we can get up our, that one, get up our graphics here. Dry quali and race. Well, thanks, Cam. It's going to be a bit of a boring one. I was hoping for a little bit of weather. We'll put it out there for anyone in the chat that wants to give us a safety car prediction. 1.5 over or under. So I'm going to go at 1 safety car. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be around the pit window. So maybe around lap 10, box off the mediums onto the hards. So I think, unfortunately, it won't be a big shake-up. But I'm going to go 1 safety car. So I'm going to go for the under on the 1.5. Anyone else wants to let us know? Venti with 1 safety car, 1 VSC. That's a decent prediction, to be fair. Do have a couple of drivers in, a couple of reserves tonight. A couple of reserves didn't rock up, as Lord Mahavir is our first driver to come out of the pit lane. And for those who do wonder, as I've just put it up for you on stream, I do run TV pod offset. So have a half decent onboard here tonight, rather than all the way off across, as we are streaming from my account here this evening. He will be our first driver out on track, and a Haas of MJ Roller will follow suit. Hopefully no traffic for himself as cars are loading up the setups, maybe making a couple of light adjustments, although I would imagine those who may have put in some practice laps probably have a dry setup, because let's be real, none of us do wet setup. Coxie, Mahavir, Noodles, top 3 once again. Decent prediction. Decent prediction there from yourself. Any other predictions in the chat for our drivers? Do have a handful of viewers at the moment, as we do have Lord Mahavir coming through the final couple of corners. So we'll go with him, and we'll take you through the lap here this evening. So just as we come through the last couple of corners, flat out in these modern day Formula 1 cars, although I would imagine that many cars are taking it pretty flat, coming down one of the largest straights here. DRS wide open for the Williams driver. Hard braking zone down into left-hand corner. Have been some good overtakes. One Daniel Ricciardo a couple of years ago, making, I think it was 3 moves. I think a triple overtake down into turn 1. He might have a little bit of traffic there. Red Bull, just a V-carb, sorry, just jumping out of the way as Mahavir jumps into turn 2. Mercedes giving a little bit of a slipstream. Hopefully he does jump out of the way. And he hasn't got out of the way as of yet. So a little bit of a quali block there. As we do know with this game, the slipstream effect isn't all too strong. So a little bit of a block there. But, you know, just a first run. As Lord there just coming through. Finishing the first of the two DRS zones. Jumping on board. Obviously purple sectors for himself. Riding the curbs. Really tricky section. And hopefully he doesn't do anything too stupid. We all know a couple of years ago, Ferrari driver did something a little bit stupid, and well, Lord Mahavir, before he could get to the stupid corner, invalidates his run, just cutting a little bit too much of the right-hander there. So, tough one for himself. Jump up to MJ Roller as he was next. So hopefully he can get a valid lap for himself. Obviously have plenty of time, get your 3 runs in here this evening. That section a little bit slower, taking a little bit less curb than we did see from the Williams, as we will jump on board with the Haas coming through the same section up to 7th. Hard braking zone, quite easy to lock the tyres into there. Obviously, you know, low speed corner coming through, a very tricky section here up near the castle. Hopefully we don't see any overtakes into here, although, well, who knows, anything could happen. Very, very easy. One of the easier flat out corners to kind of lose the car, in particularly in race trim, can be very difficult, very bumpy on these straight circuits. Braking, sent a couple of cars that go straight on there, but not bumping into the walls, coming into what is the last braking zone, and what actually is a really, really crucial exit here. Not quite the last corner, but does set up your run all the way to the line, and MJ Roller coming through the flat out corners now to the left, and now to the right, clipping that apex nicely. We want to keep the car nice and tight here as we run to the line. Quite a long run to the line, maybe grab yourself a drink of water, or anything else you might fancy. Might have a little bit of a small tap on the wall there from MJ Roller. Does come across and does a 39.8 as our first run here in qualifying. So it's just a banker. Obviously something to build off of. And we'll see how the rest of our drivers go. Although there is someone off in the runoff. And that is Benjamin Cam. So potentially running quite deep there. So it's very unfortunate for, almost said Red Bull. But the, what do we want to call them? Sugar-free, Visa Cash App, fake Red Bull. Got to come up with a secondary team as Aussie Goat does put himself to the top of the timing sheets with GLX Cam just in behind in the Alpine. Matt Hammer coming across the line. Interesting lap time for himself of 52, so not sure if there was some form of issue for the Red Bull driver, and I do thank Matt. Stepping up as I am the Red Bull TP as well, as Ryan Cox, I think unsurprisingly, puts himself to the top of the timing sheets in the cherry red Ferrari. Anyone else in the chat wanting to pay attention? What do we think of the Ferrari skin that they had at Monza? I think it looked good, but then on track it was a bit, it was a bit mid on track in my opinion. I think that just a normal red Ferrari would have been good. I know they had some blue merchandise out, a couple of blue tops and a couple of blue hats, so maybe a full blue Ferrari livery could have been the way to go. But if you are in the chat, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions. As me and one of my famous often co-stars, Venti, as you'd know him by, often say, first 10 minutes of qualifying, first 15 minutes of qualifying, really just bankers. Kind of just talk as much trash as we like, to be honest. Looks like Daniel Starr might be the next man across the line, just coming through the second sector into the castle section now with the back end, just stepping out just that little bit through the castle section. Loves to step out here. So, you know, those street tracks, hard grip, hard on the tyres. Walls are right there, so very, very punishing. So hopefully everyone else following tonight maybe get some laps in, take some lessons. Although I do believe there is an update due tonight. Someone could give us a confirmation of that. I do believe that tonight there is some form of update for the F1 game, so not sure if there are changes coming to Baku, as I am, well, completely useless, as we all know. Daniel Starr coming through the last couple of corners now, yellow flag, so it seems to be some form of issue, or maybe a car, just letting a car go there. Obviously very tricky pit lane here, kind of got a bit of a chicane into pit lane, and we all know, I believe it was Esteban Ocon, it's coming to box on the last lap. Obviously had that issue where there were people out in the middle of the pit lane. Shouldn't have any of those issues in the F1 game, but at the end of the day, it's the F1 game. So issues are plenty. As we do we have anyone on a lap? Looks like the McLarens may not be on laps. Mozart just Yeah, just going slowly there. But we'll have a look as he comes into pit lane. As you can see, he's got to stay to the left. White line. He does stay out, Mozza. So maybe going for another run. Although it was 4 seconds down on that lap time. So, interesting call from himself as there is a Haas coming down the straight. So, they're 4/10 up on their lap. MJ Roller. So coming through across on his next banker. Doesn't improve his position. Did improve on his time by about 3.5 seconds there. Just have a look as we were on board just as we're coming across the line there for the Haas. And it looks to be a slow moving Red Bull in the final sector. So I'd imagine that's Nat Hammer, yeah. As a couple of drivers haven't set out a lap yet. So maybe thinking a late safety car is a possibility, and I'd most certainly love one. As Pepsi is on his out lap. So seems to be he will be the next driver we'll be on board with. In front of him is a cash up of Benjamin Cam. I knew it was one of the cash ups, but them having so many blue cars in the game, like, can we just have some different coloured dots? Or can we have the logos instead of the dots? So instead of saying, you know, just like a blue triangle, we'd see like the logo. I think that would be smart, but then again, EA cannot be smart at the best of times. Hopefully Pepsi's leaving himself a decent gap. Hopefully he doesn't pick up any dirty air. But we'll stay with Benjamin Cam to start his lap. Is a slow-moving car on the right-hand side there, just getting out of the way. Parks themselves up, so maybe trying to enter pit lane and trying to get out of the way at the same time. Coming into turn number 1. It's again hard braking zone, got that curb on the outside. Want to try and push the car out off to the right, open up the corner as much as possible. Didn't quite do it there on occasion. Braking at the 50, taking a lot of that inside curb. Can be punishing, cannot, really depends on how you've set up your car, although didn't really see him, like the cash app loved it bouncing there. Another straight as we do acquire is from DRS there, as named Cola Race Tier 1, so we have a Pepsi versus Coke battle. Oh, Venti, I'd imagine you should get onto good old friend Jamie. He loves to change his name from time to time. Get him to be called Coke. So we can have some Cola versus some Pepsi. Controversial battle, that one. I personally don't even really know I have a favourite. I haven't had either of them in a very long time. So, but coming through the castle section, getting a little bit distracted there. Coming through the castle section, and how is Pepsi going on his lap as well, taking a lot of the curb. He's just invalidated just as I've got on board. I feel bad. He's one of my drivers once again, Red Bull team principal. So maybe I should just stay away from the Red Bulls here tonight. Taking a lot of inside curb once again. Benjamin Cam loves the curbs, loves riding them. As very, very, very slippery on exit there. It's, well, look, Venti, you can do what you want. I'll leave that up to you, good sir, if you want to give us a good old laugh having a name like that. As Benjamin Cam will be coming across the line, and Pepsi, I'd imagine, will be coming into pit lane. Benjamin Cam, where can he put himself for his first valid lap time up to P8? Does Pepsi elect to finish his lap? Yeah, he does. It would have been a 39.2. So would have put himself up towards that P5, P6. It's going to be real tough for the Red Bull driver. It's going to be real important here. Bit of like a one-shot qualifying session-esque. A couple of McLarens now. Is Mozza starting his lap, or is he doing a little bit of practice? Who knows? Although almost getting in the way of his teammate there, of Sir Joshi. So Sir Joshi coming across the line in that instance. So I believe he'll be into pit lane, and yeah, a little bit of a bang on the wall there. As Nat Hammer, some form of issue potentially. Couple of cars coming in thick and fast. Is that both cash ups and then a Red Bull Daniel Star, obviously on an out lap, so cannot be quali blocked by the Red Bull. When the boat does his next lap, can we watch it please? Venti, I can't do any Red Bull cursing, unfortunately. I do apologise. Cannot do any Red Bull cursing. And we are getting to the prime time of qualifying. Come on, look at the time. 6 minutes to go. So not really getting out of the way here, as Daniel Starr's got a couple of cars coming around. I'd imagine that Pepsi will be in order to change up his fuel, get some new tyres on the car, maybe have a sip of Pepsi. Who knows? As Nat does get out of the way of his teammate. This is going to hurt Daniel Starr here. He's gone slow through these last couple of corners. Just kind of want to get as good exit as possible, and it looks like Red Bull is in formation there, coming into pit lane is Nat Hammer. See how that little bit of a chicane there, and then a hard braking zone. But we'll stay with Daniel Starr for now for his lap. Just wanted to have a look at that and show you folks at home. Coming very, very, very narrow, opening up the car now, but once again, not all the way opening up that corner on the right-hand side, as I'd recommend that you do so. Obviously got to push the limits. Very hard to do so at a street track. Just missing the apex there a little bit from Daniel Starr, although, to be fair, I don't know where the apex is when I'm driving. So, as Marsh has come across and done a 48.1, say, bad lap time. Hopefully enough time for him to get back into the pits. We'll see how he goes. Daniel Starr coming around now, going through both of the first two DRS zones now, coming through a very tricky section here. To the left, want to ride that curb on the inside as much as possible, and then for the right, I'd say get off it. It's a bumpy curb, and can chew you up and spit you out. We have seen a couple of drivers invalidate come through just before the castle section now. Hopefully any squabbling that we do have, as Mash has retired, so not sure if that was on track or in pit lane, and I do apologise for jumping away from Daniel Starr, which is about half a tenth down on his lap time now, coming through once again towards the end of his lap. Can he find something? Only a couple of braking zones to go, really. Flat out corners aren't going to gain you much, as I'd imagine that everybody will be into pit lane. Daniel Starr coming now down into your final braking zone, spots the car all the way to the wall. A little bit of a back end slide there for the Visa Cash App RB Sugar-Free Red Bull. Whatever nickname you'd like to choose, please go ahead and choose. It's under the American Express board there, trying to keep the car nice and tight here as he goes towards the line. Does he decide to go into pit lane? Does he keep his lap time? Seems like he's calling it. Yeah, into pit lane he goes. So into the pits he does go. And everybody chilling in pit lane. Joshy is into pit lane. So it would shock me if anybody's going to come out now for their laps. Although Mozza is on an out lap with 3 minutes to go, so maybe he's fueled up for enough runs. Although kind of can't quite see there on his dash if he's put enough fuel in the car. And well, Fat Cat Batman, I like that. And Pepsi going to have a tough time here in qualifying. It's become a one-shot qualifying for them. Which you see in a lot of those 5-lapper lobbies, but it's not ideal when you've had 18 minutes to put your car on pole. But we'll see what he can do towards the back end of their laps. Do have Nat Hammer coming around the final corner now with a car behind him. He's cut the track, or was that Nat Hammer going wide? Not too sure. Maybe a bit of an unfortunate me being on board, but just for the viewers at home, or the one person that's been in the chat so far, well and truly, here you go. Venti, here is what you like to call the boat, as Noodles has retired. Is that in pit lane? I'm not too sure. Have to have a look here. It does look to be maybe on the exit of pit lane. Don't see any cars off to the side there, so maybe not. But I'll jump back to Nat Hammer just for you. And he's coming through a lot of traffic now, so this might be tough. Obviously, we do know Slipstream isn't in great effect in this game. There is a wing there, and that might be the wing of the Haas. Nat trying to pick up a little bit of a Slipstream, almost losing the car there. Just behind a hell of a lot of traffic, to be fair, for the Red Bull. Ryan Cox has retired in the pit lane. A bit of a tap on the wall for Nat Hammer. Kizzy sees front wing. He does still have both end plates intact. So, maybe a tap that he's gotten away with there. Coming into the left and then the right is Nat Hammer up on his middle sector split here as he comes towards the castle section. Obviously, once again, very difficult section. I've said that many times. Got to spot your braking point and your turning point perfectly, as you see there, looking up the hill. Very tight, very narrow. Hopefully, any and all squabbles we have tonight are sorted out before we can get there. A few more cars here tonight are retiring. Just think maybe it's done, or maybe saving a set of softs. Who does know? Nat Hammer now coming through the last couple of corners. Can he improve himself here in qualifying? We'll see how he goes. Coming around that final traction zone, that final braking zone, and now he goes to the left. And now he's going to come through to the right. Love that shot there. Many people don't love a lot of the shots in this game, but that's one that I most personally do love as he comes across the line as Benjamin Cam does retire the car. believe that was in pit lane, and yes, it does look to be so. Nat Hammer puts himself up to P12. Who's going to be next coming across the line? Looks like a McLaren, potentially Sir Joshua, or is it Mozza up 8/10. Now he steals away P12. And I think we've got a couple of cars that will be starting their lap times. Is that Aston Martin going to get to the line? Does look like an Aston Martin got to the line, so it does seem like everybody is on lap times now. Pepsi, what can he do? He's coming around your final braking zone now, and he has broken his front wing. So, nothing for himself, as Fat Cat Batman has invalidated. So 2 drivers here tonight have not set lap times. Now we jump up to GLX. He's finished the castle section. He's only got 2 braking zones to go. Only 2 more braking zones to find that little bit more time. Those flat corners, you can't really find as much time as you'd like. Can he set himself anywhere higher towards the top? Coming through, hitting that curb on the inside. Once again, to the right, back to the left, and then once again to the right for the Alpine driver. What can he do here in qualifying? He's towards the end with 2 minutes remaining in the session for those to finish their lap times. Battery is flashing. He might have used it all here, the Alpine driver coming towards the line. Can he improve? Yes, he can, up to P4 for the Alpine. Keith up to P4, so he takes away Cam's spot. Cam now down to P5. Aussie Goat's finished down into P9, and that was Lord Mahavir coming across the line in the background there. Jumps himself up to P3, so he'll start at the second row at the moment. Is that Mozza leading the McLarens through? No, it's not. It is Sir Joshi. What can he do in terms of improving? Doesn't seem like he can. He's had a unfortunate go. Nat Hammer, he won't be on a line, so we go to Mozza. Mozza will be next, and he's getting out of the way of drivers, so he won't be able to improve. And that may be your qualifying, unless we'll see what the Aston Martins can do. You've got Farmer Sam, and he's leading Fraser Clegg along. Is that slipstream effect going to matter? Farmer Sam is not up, so we move to Clegg. He is down, so they are both, well, coming across the line to finish their laps, but nothing in terms of position for themselves, as we do have one of the cars smash themselves into the wall. And I must admit, I don't personally love to see that. Whether that be at the end of a race or whatnot, see their tyres off the Aston Martin. I can't say that I personally do love seeing that. But that's your grid for qualifying. So Ryan Cox keeps pole. Nothing that Sir Joshi and the McLaren could do at the end there. And then Lord Mahavir takes away 3rd position, and Fraser Clegg will start next to him. So 4 different cars in the top 4 should make for an exciting finish to qualifying and an exciting start to the race. And while we will have this interval where cars will be setting themselves out, hashtag Ask Seb, if anyone wants to ask me any questions, as run through grid for you. So Ryan Cox from Sir Joshi, Lord, Fraser Clegg, Keith, GLX Cam, Farmer Sam, Noodles, MJ Roller, and Aussie 2K Goat rolls out your top 10. Benjamin Cam, Mozza, Nat Hammer, and Daniel Starr with Mash Jr. Rounds out your next 5. Fat Cat Batman will start ahead of Pepsi. I think that's a little bit more luck, but both those drivers could not get a lap time on the board. So we'll see how they go. I'd imagine hards onto a medium would be the strategy for those towards the back of the field. Once again, hashtag Ask Seb. If you've got any questions, please chuck them in the chat. Make sure I try and get to them as quick as possible. If anyone in the chat, wants to jump in, as we are waiting for the players to sort out their cars. So change their tyre pressures, chuck some wing on the car, take some wing off the car. Well, I guess we'll see what we have to offer. And does look like it is going to be an all dry affair. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your opinions. I would have liked some weather. Baku likes to chew up some weather. It's like Singapore. A lot of these straight tracks are the same. Likes to chew up some weather when it can. And yeah, unfortunately, no weather here this evening. Well, to fill in the time, no one's got any questions. Give you a predictive strategy, I'd say maybe 10 laps on the mediums to start off with, and then hards from there. We have seen Ryan Cox elsewhere run the hards at the start and then mediums towards the end as drivers fight. Could work out this evening, but possibly not. I guess we'll see how it goes. Also got that line of 1.5 under safety cars, although we have got 5 lights now here, so I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. I've jumped off there, and we are go here in Baku. Ryan Cox leads us away into turn 1. The McLaren coming across of Sir Joshi, defending his position from Lord Mahavir. Seems to be all clean as there is an Alpine just losing the rears back then. Seems like the Red Bulls have got a bit of a decent jump there towards the back of the field. We do have a couple of jumps. Pepsi already up to P12. He's going side by side. Bit of a back end loss there for GLX Cam. Bad start for himself. He's down a lot of positions now. Pepsi, can he go up the inside here? Down into turn number 3. Jumping away. Fighting away for P10. He got the inside. Does become the outside. A little bit of contact there potentially for the drivers. And towards the outside. Will he back out of this one? No. Space is left. They continue to go side by side. Seems to be our best start off the race. Lead up the inside goes the Red Bull. He takes away the move. As Ryan Cox has gotten away all cleanly. Sir Jossie, what can he do to try and fight? He's cut the inside there. Maybe to try and potentially stay with the Ferrari driver. What can we do here? Everyone going single file as we come through the castle section. Everybody deciding positions aren't worth it up there. And I don't think I've ever seen a car go 2 by 2 up that section. As Benjamin Cam already picks up a 3-second penalty. Game there gave you a couple of predictive strategies. So hard to mediums. As we will pull up the tyres as well. Not that one. That's not what we want. Tyres there. So your top 15, all starting on the mediums, or not where they started, but you know, your top 15 as we speak now, all going with the medium tyres. Benjamin Cam, your first penalty pick up a penalty, as Mozza's already lost the field, and Nat Hammer is behind him on the hards as well. So interesting to see. This might be a move here from Nat Hammer as we look behind the McLaren driver. Looks to the left, looks to the right, looking to make the move round the outside is the Red Bull driver of Nat Hammer, and seems to have got it cleanly done on the start as Mozza has brought her into pit lane. So is this an early pit and quit? Is this strategy genius from McLaren? Who knows? See who gained their big off-out start. Pepsi's up 7. So early call for driver of the day off a start off 7 positions. Fat Cat Batman's also up 5. So great start from them going away with the mediums. Not sure what happened to GLX Cam off that start there, but he is down 6 as a handful of other drivers are up 1 position. As Keith is looking close towards the back. Sorry, Farmer Sam's looking the boast of Keith. Been a hot minute since I've done this. Doesn't really seem like there are any moves to be made. Can Ryan Cox jump away from Sir Joshi? And it looks like he already has as we come up through the castle section for the second of 26 times. Can he stay in that DRS? Sir Joshi's going to have to push hard, as Lord Mojave is also going to have to push hard to try and stay with the McLaren. Seems like he may have dropped the McLaren, so Ryan Cox seems to be in a field of his own at the moment at the start of this race. Great start from himself, as seems to be maybe a bit of a push from behind. Noodles is looking close on the back of Farmer Sam here. Can the Alpine do anything? We've got it on board. He's in the slipstream, but then again at the same time Farmer Sam is also in the slipstream. So very difficult to make a move, as we see with the on board of the Alpine. The Mercedes goes to the right, the Aston Martin goes to the left. The Alpine, is there going to be a gap there on the right as we go side by side? As we saw there, front wing damage for the Aston Martin there. The Alpine's going to go up the inside. The Aston Martin's going to follow him through. Late braking for the Alpine. He'll get the move. We'll follow on with the Alpine. See the moves from behind as the Aston Martin made the move as well. So Noodles up 3. Just off the start of this race, but they've lost DRS, so maybe the wing damage potentially getting away here. It kind of seems we've already got mini packs opening up, as Keith is down 2 positions there, so unfortunate for himself. And it seems like Fat Cat Batman's gotten past the Red Bull drivers, as we do have a yellow flag, as Farmer Sam maybe picking up some further damage, and that does look like both end plates missing. And some pretty extreme front wing damage for the Aston Martin. So crucial to try and get through as quick as possible now. As you can kind of hear the taps of the wall. But our leader Ryan Cox has run away with the lead here, as he's got 1.8 seconds to the car behind. And Lord Mahavir is sticking in that DRS as once again yellow flag. Who is off once again? It is Farmer Sam. And we'll see, has he got any front wing left on that car down in P16? I'd imagine that he hasn't. We'll have a look here. Has he got anything? He has not got any front wing left, as Mozza did box at the end of lap 1. Never really quite, I guess, understood that, as he has gone onto the hards. So he's gone from hards to hards. I don't... That could be genius. As once again, Farmer Sam is in a wall as he's kept the car alive. So he can drag that back to pit lane, and who knows, you know. One safety car comes out, that can save your race as Lord Mahavir. I do apologise for missing that move. Lord Mahavir making the move into turn number 1. As if anything, all this squabbling, it just helps out Ryan Cox. So maybe they can DRS trade further behind. Daniel Starr going side by side with Mash into turn number 1. Mash making the move, and is up 2 places. As Fat Cat Batman's up 8. And I'll bring us back. I'll take away it from the for now. As Lord Mahavir defending from the McLaren. What can the McLaren do to try and make a move? Not quite close enough to make a move into this section here. Can be very tough. Mozza getting past it. But Ryan Cox seems all comfortable out in the front of the field. Lord Mahavir, what can he do to try and get up and nice and close to the back of Ryan Cox? Potentially nothing. We'll see what can be done. Not too sure. There's a gap from Noodles to Fraser Clegg. So it kind of seems like you got the leaders run away. You got a small fight here for the podium. So 3 drivers for 2 positions. I can tell you at lap 26 that's going to get spicy. And might be Sir Jossie who might try and make a move here. We'll keep an eye on with them, although Fat Cat Batman is looking close. I'll jump down to him. What can he do? Looks up the inside of the Haas driver. Is he going to go for it? No, he elects to stay in behind. It's nice patient work. A little bit of a love tap there, although nothing too much to be said between our drivers. As they do have up the inside into the front left-hander. Has they stayed alive? They have stayed alive. A little bit of contact there, as you can see. The hand went up on board with the kick. And he's going to have DRS of Keith now. So is he going to be able to make a move on Keith? DRS wide open, looking up the inside here into turn number 1. Once again on board. I do love going on board with the drivers. Up the inside. Not quite front with a real wheel. Just decides to keep it in behind. As MJ Roller follows suit and stays in behind. I'd imagine that Fat Cat Batman, he's got some pace. And I'd imagine he's going to be able to sort this out. MJ Roller is out. MJ Roller is out. We'll see what has happened here. Maybe go on board. There's a little bit of contact there. There is a car on the right hand side there of the track, and that is a VSC, so has kind of stunted any moves to be made. I think it might have been Venti who said 1 VSC, so he's got his 1 VSC. I think he might have said 1 safety car as well. As Lord Mahavir, the gap to Ryan Cox is already at kind of 5 seconds, so maybe a jump can be made here. We'll see what can happen. We have our first retirement of MJ Roller, and it's really unfortunate for himself. Was kind of stuck in a battle there, so maybe we'll see if there's anything in the steward's room after the race, but I most certainly didn't see anything. As we do go green now, a little bit of unfortunate for a couple of drivers, been caught in a couple of braking zones. Sir Jossie really kind of hasn't quite got the jump that he wants there on Lord Mahavir, so doesn't really seem any moves can be made here, although Keith has lost DRS, and he has got Fat Cat Batman going up the inside, although he decides against it. And if I'm not mistaken, potentially a little bit of front wing damage for the Mercedes. Yeah, just have a look there on the right-hand side. No M plate for the Mercedes driver, so that'll be lacking in pace here. We'll go with Fat Cat Batman in the slipstream. We saw him make a move through here just before. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it. Most certainly would not recommend it. As looking towards turn number 1 seems to be an easy move for the stake Formula 1 team, as Sir Jossie also is making a move, although Lord Mahavir is fighting it further up ahead. I do apologise. Stay on board with this battle here. Up the inside goes the kick, and he gets the move done. Is there anything that Keith can do potentially to fight back? I'm not sure if it's a double detection zone, so we'll see if Keith has the DRS. Lord Mahavir just losing the 1 position to Sir Jossie, which might have been just a little bit of DRS swapping up the top of the field. So I do apologise for missing that one. As Lord Mahavir just lacking in that dirty air. He was looking like he had good pace in the clean air, but just lacking that kind of 9/10ths behind. So hopefully he's got to keep it clean through this part of the racetrack. Keep on with that DRS and see how that can go. Fraser Clegg obviously going to be pushing him forward, and Noodles has got about a 2-second gap behind, although he does have Fat Cat coming in quickly. And it does seem like Lord has been able to stick towards the back here, kind of at that 1 second mark. He's going to have to burn to try and stay with him, and then maybe burn as some defence to Fraser Clegg if he can't. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. All taking it as there was a little bit of a back end there loss for Lord Mahavir, although he's kept it clean. So it does appear that he's going to be able to stay in that DRS, as Fat Cat's already gained 2/10 on Noodles. So Fat Cat, the dark horse, maybe. We'll see how this goes as moves further behind. Mash and Daniel Starr trading there. So Mash sits in behind of Daniel Starr, may have DRS, may be able to make a move here. We'll see how that goes. Any moves further up ahead? Yes, there is. Noodles going around the outside into turn number 1. Having to defend is the Williams driver. He's gone very, very deep. A little bit of a switch back there for the Aston Martin. And he's been able to make the move. So, once again, Lord Mahavir maybe trying to burn, get back in that DRS. Just couldn't really make it go. And couldn't keep the position. He's going to be a little bit too far back as Nat Hammer has made a move and Mash has brought her into pit lane. So, not a move, sorry, but gaining of a position for Mash. And I believe that he started on the medium tyre, and he definitely did. So tyre wear may be coming into effect. And I've also seen that Farmer Sam's gone onto the softs. So brave call for himself. Long stop for Mash. I believe there was a front wing change in there as there was a caution. It's a yellow flag in sector number 1. And a little bit of contact further up ahead. Got Aussie 2K Goat and Mozza going side by side, hard at it. Aussie taking the position. He's got the fresher tyres, and there is no front wing on Mozza's car now. So unfortunate for himself. Not sure if that was contact with the car or the wall, as Lord has dropped out of DRS now. So just really, really struggling with, that dirty air. And you heard there, he hit the wall just round the exit of the corner. So can he stay on DRS? Well, I guess we'll have to see here if he's going to be able to stay in DRS. Does appear for now. Mozza runs 0 wings. No wing would give him negative wings. Maybe next time he comes into pit lane, he should put the wing upside down. We'll get the car to lift. See an aeroplane jump up, maybe. Just a little bit of entertainment. Can see there that Lord Mahavir does have the DRS as move being made. So Fat Cat Batman has some pace. I can confirm for you that he has got some pace there as moves are being made. So not sure if Keith had some form of issue. Maybe has left the session. If someone can let me know, I might have missed that. Alpine in the background. GLX Cam having some form of issue just on traction there. Sent a couple of drives sliding around as it is Benjamin Cam coming in for the stop. See how his stop goes. Seems to be a nice clean stop there. A little bit of hell. A little bit of a late let go there. As seems like maybe it's pit stop time for our drivers. As Mash making the move on Mozza as Mozza comes into pit lane. And do the McLaren team put the car upside down. Let's have a look. It's definitely a wing change. It's not upside down though, so unfortunately they are not looking for a upside down. How is Joshy in second? Well, he started in second, Jocks. And he's been making the moves up the field as Keith has asked for an invite. And we do have a yellow flag. I'll get to that in 1 second. Give me 1 second, Keith. We do have a car. He's still alive. So it might have been Noodles there looting the car, and it was Noodles. And we're going to go side by side. GLX Cam making the move. Is that potentially an illegal move under yellow flags? Not too sure. As we'll try and get Keith an invite. Keith, I do hope you do have me added. Seb_K21 if you do not have me added. Should have a look at my friends list to see if I do have you added. Do apologise, viewers. Keith. There we go. Friend request received from Keith. Hopefully I can... there we go. Accept. I'll just load it one more time. Love the communicating with online servers. And I can just see the Alpine there, just losing the car a little bit, so maybe a potential tyre issue for them. See if they come into pit lane. There you are, Keith. Sent you an invite. If you need a new one, let me know. GLX Cam will have a look here. It does have a little bit of wing damage, so potentially why he is losing the car. a couple of moves. So Badgerman Cam come into pit lane for a fresh set of the hard tyres. It does seem like maybe a couple of our leaders have come in. Noodles has come in and Keith has gotten back into the lobby. So hopefully it's not too much damage to your race, Keith. Who knows, maybe the AI's got some good tyre wear, although Fat Cat Batman up to P4. So do apologise, we were just inviting Keith back, so have a look to see Lord Mojave did box. I do apologise there, viewers, excuse me. So Lord Mojave did box, so he's on the fresh hards. Not quite sure how I missed that. So that would explain why Fat Cat's already up into the DRS of Sir Joshua, and Clegg hasn't done it over yet. So Fat Cat Batman with some pace, Lord Mojave making the move. A little bit of an issue there for GLX Cam, so hopefully he can get past very, very quickly, although does Keith have some more front wing damage, which is just the same? Not quite sure. It does seem to be the same, as Ryan Cox and Fat Cat Batman both into pit lane, so we'll see where they do come out. Maybe a little bit of an undercut for Fat Cat Batman. We'll see. We'll see what can happen for these drivers. Provisionally, as it does stand, you got Fraser Clegg, Joshy, and Pepsi leading away. Still on that medium tyre, although Ryan Cox is your net race leader. So a couple of drivers yet to stop in this race. Now is about pit stop time. I did say rough window is around lap 10 to come in, put the hard tyres on. Although I haven't done any laps, and I won't be driving tomorrow, so maybe don't trust a word I say. Who knows? Well, Fat Cat Batman definitely is looking quick here this evening, and that is not a great shot through the driver on board there, but we'll stick with it. Fat Cat Batman's almost up into the DRS of Ryan Cox, so some potential for the kick driver, stake driver, whatever you'd like to call it. Ex Alfa Romeo team, future Audi team. Pick a name and we'll stick with it as Ryan Cox. Already gotten up to the back of Pepsi, so will Pepsi be coming in this lap? Maybe he's putting up a fight to Ryan Cox. We'll see what has to happen. Fraser Clegg is into pit lane, and so is Sir Joshi, so they've followed them through. Let's see what can happen. Who's getting the undercut? Who's getting the overcut? Undercut's definitely more powerful in this game. And does Pepsi also follow suit and go into the pits? Yes, he does. So Ryan Cox coming around turn number 1. You've got a couple of drivers. We've got someone who's joined the VC. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. Venti, good sir, I was in a flow, and then you just completely ruined my flow. Yeah, you should be sorry. As Ryan Cox and Fat Cat Batman came out ahead. Looks like Fraser Clegg with that... That cut didn't really quite work, so I'm shocked, to be honest, although Fat Cat Batman is quick. So, guess we'll have to see how this one goes. And now that I've finalised that, I guess we've had someone join us in the comms box. Not quite sure why, and I'm not quite sure why we accept him in here, but Venti has joined us. And if anyone would like me to kick him from the comms box, someone let me know in the chat and I'll kick him. And did I say that you were allowed to join the comms box? This guy is unbelievable. This stream has gone from extremely high quality to extremely low quality now, ladies and gentlemen. We've had the... it's now going to be a lack of class with us two in the comms box. It's entertaining, but it's always a lack of class. It's true. Come on. You got to say that's true. As we do have a yellow flag, someone has been in the car, and it looks to be GLX. We stopped for quite a while. I'm sorry, there's action. I can't invite you right now. And he's broken his front wing. So, unfortunate for him. Yeah, I'll finally send you an invite. But there's action left and right. I thought we were going to have a safety car. And then we could have hashtag Ask Seb once again. Where are you on my friends list? There you go. Hopefully that works. As Daniel Starr has got a speed pit lane penalty, as you've distracted our lovely viewers at home. And KLX also came in for a front wing change. Ryan Cox continues to lead your field as Fat Cat Batman, once again, showing the pace. And someone who was an outsider from qualifying, started second last on your grid, started 16th on your grid, has made his way up to P2. So, understanding that there are many laps to go in this race, it's quite an unbelievable drive from himself. And now that he's joined us, we don't hear anything from good old Venti. Just trying to see if I could maybe get him off mute, but not sure what's happened. But I have invited him, so he can't scream at me any longer. As Daniel Starr has put on the mediums, so it's going to be a long stint for himself. About 14 laps on the mediums is going to be tough for him. But if I'm not mistaken, everybody has made a stop, and we'll bring up the penalties for you. So it's just Benjamin Cam with the 3 second. And Daniel Starr, as we have a car up in the air, and that was Fat Cat Batman. And is that a safety car or just another virtual, as cars are driving through him? So not quite sure what happened to Fat Cat Batman there. But for me, he was up in the air, as Lord Mahavir's picked up a 10 second, and so has Sir Joshi. But I'd imagine they're going to be able to get them removed for having a collision. We do have our second DNF, which, I'm not going to lie, was looking like a driver of the day. Just as we're picking up the penalty. So I guess you can add Lord Mahavir and Joshi with their 10 seconds. I'd imagine they'd be able to get them removed, as a couple of drivers do come into pit lane as we do go green. Have a look at the stops here. So Nat Hammer is yet to stop in this race, and he's up 6th position. He's currently on the hard tyre. But other than that, everybody has stopped. So let's just... and we'll have a look at the positions for you as well while we have a moment. So Fraser Clegg's up 2. It was fair to say that Fat Cat Batman was up many positions. Many positions. Until he had that unfortunate DNF just a moment ago. Thought that might have been a safety car, but unfortunately not. Pepsi is now up 11 positions and has made his stop. So maybe he can drive his way into the top 5, and most certainly an argument to say that he would be driver of the day as it does stand. And then there's teammate Nat Hammer. For tonight, both my drivers at Red Bull are hopefully going to pick up some decent points. And now that kind of fight to Ryan Cox for the race win kind of may have seemed to be gone, as Sir Joshi around the outside down into turn number 1. We'll get rid of that menu for you. So does make the move, although Fraser Clegg has come in. So did he pick up some wing damage or whatnot? I'm not too sure. Also pull up our gap to leader as well for you. For anyone who may want to have a look. Yes, it's a front wing change down at Aston Martin. So what was looking like a podium for Fraser Clegg has gone from bad to worse. So that DNF of Fat Cat Batman has unfortunately got in the way of a large amount of drivers, as Ryan Cox as well does have our fastest lap of a 41.5. So maybe Fraser can go and pick that up for himself. We'll see how it goes. EA things, Cody things, many things. And just as you were speaking away there, Mash got the move made on Mozza. So, moves are being made. And the question now becomes, when does Nuthammer pit? He's yet to pit. And gaps have kind of come out a little bit, although Badgerman Cam on Farmer Sam seeming like our closest battle at the moment. So coming around into the castle section on board with the Badgerman Cam. I love the onboard. We'll go off the onboard for once. Up through the castle section, gaining just that fraction, little bit of time, although on exit losing it. So potentially the dirty air, hurting himself there. He's in the toe, although let's be real, the toe doesn't really exist on this game. So maybe some DRS down the main straight. Both drivers charging up the battery there. One defending, one will be attacking. So coming around into the final braking zone now. Very bumpy curb as the Aston Martin has ran very, very wide there. So might have helped him, might have hurt him. Nat Hammer losing a position there to Fraser Clegg. We go back to your Badgerman Cam as they come down the main straight. Aston Martin pulls off to the left. V-carb off to the right and around the outside. Lovely jubbly. About as simple as it gets to make a move, to be honest. So further behind, Mozza making the move on Mash Jr. So a bit of DRS trading as Keith makes his way past Nat Hammer. Can Nat Hammer fight this one back? Does seem like he's put the Red Bull into recharge mode, so he might just stick in behind. I guess his pace is yet to come. He'll be taking a stop onto the medium tyres in a moment's notice. So his pace is yet to come. Farmer Sam's now the car behind the Badgerman Cam, and I'd imagine they're going to end up DRS trading here. Just looking at the gaps. Does appear that will be DRS swapping as kind of same thing for Mash and Mozza now coming around that same castle section on the track. Seems that everything's kind of gone a little bit stagnant. A last minute safety car or something like that would be nice, give us a little bit of action, but might not be an option with everybody kind of so far out. You can see there in the bottom right of your screen the track map there. It does seem that everybody's kind of spread apart. As Fraser Clegg picks up that fastest lap of a 40.8, and I'd imagine that the only man who might be able to stop him is Nat Hammer when he boxes onto the medium tyres, but we'll see how it happens. Which way does Mozza go here to defend the position as Badgerman Cam and Farmer Swam swap? We'll go to somebody else for the same move that's about to happen. Mozza keeping the car nice and tight in the slipstream. Will open up that rear wing, will be the Haas driver. Can he make the move down into turn number 1? Looking to the outside or looking to the inside? Looks like the Haas is going for the outside, fighting it, although he's not quite close enough into the braking zone. Nice defending there from the McLaren. Seems like he will be keeping the position for now. As kind of just brings GLX Cam back into this battle a little bit. And DRS for the Haas looking towards the inside. So maybe setting up that move into turn number 1. Trying to make that move just before turn number 3. And it seems like GLX is on his way slowly, closing up to the battle of this pack. So eventually we'll have a 3-way battle for P12. It's just the 2 for now. Yeah, very tricky, but nice to have the squabbles sorted out for our drivers. A little bit of a love tap on the wall there for Mozza. But jumping back up to the front of the field, Ryan Cox, he had a bit of pressure from Fat Cat, but kind of seems like that pressure's kind of near and gone. Understand that Joshi and Lord would be able to get their 10 seconds removed via the steward's room, but 9-second gap behind, as we do have room. So Benjamin Cam, Farmer Sam, once again, DRS swapping down into turn number 1. Will the Aston Martin be able to get that move back down into turn number 3? Potentially, he's looking real close. Go on board with the Aston Martin for the move. Coming down into turn number 2. Both of them love taking that inside curve there. DRS will be open as the 3-way battle has now happened. So Mash towards the back of the field. GLX making the move on Mozza as well. But we'll stay on board here. Nothing that can be quite done by Farmer Sam. Maybe the straight's not quite long enough. Maybe a change of wing. GLX fighting away with these two. This seems to be the battle to go. Around the outside does go Mozza. We'll go on board with him as well. He'll be going up the inside. Take it to a little bit more of a drone shot now. So it doesn't seem like Mozza has the DRS, so not much he'd be able to do there to make the move. But this might be a spicy battle from these three, and look, who knows, if we're lucky, they'll pull out a safety car for us. I mean, potentially. Unfortunately for a late safety car, Joshi and Mahavir are, well, boxed in on the basis that they can't box. Their strategy is all but decided, as Pepsi and Fraser Clegg are going side by side down into turn number 1. Up the inside went the Aston Martin. Not really much Pepsi could do to defend from that one. Might be able to fight back down into turn number 3, as he's looking real close to the back, as Noodles and Mahavir making that move. Could see that coming from a little bit ago. As what can Pepsi do to try and fight this one back? This might not be the place to do it. Looking towards turn number 3, not quite. Lord Mahavir tapping the wall there on exit, so maybe a little bit frustrated that he's kind of boxed in a little bit by his strategy if we did have a safety car, and there is front wing damage for the Williams, so tends to explain why he's fallen off so much, as Noodles has made that move, but big gap from Noodles to Joshi, so we kind of need a safety car to bring us back together. Ryan Cox is coming down into turn number 1. Daniel Starr is coming into turn number 2 as we speak. So maybe some blue flags at some point, but kind of a big ask for that to try and cause something, I guess. Kind of seems that gaps have gone stagnant as Fraser Clegg is pulling up to the back of Lord Mahavir now. Lord Mahavir bringing the car into pit lane, so maybe a faster slap attempt for the Williams driver potentially. As he does come into pit lane. So that brings Pepsi back up to P5. I will just check. Nat Hammer still hasn't stopped. So a bit of a shock there. I must admit that he hasn't stopped. But Nat, if you're listening, you haven't stopped, mate. I hope you know that. But if you're listening, you haven't stopped. As Benjamin Cam is making the move there. And Nat Hammer's fighting away. Lord Mahavir will be coming out of pit lane shortly. Maybe Nat's idea is a soft for a faster slap. I've got absolutely no idea, as Lord Mahavir comes out of pit lane and he's come out on the hard tyres. So must have had 2 hards back in the locker. Softs are, as we know, not really viable on this game. And things have kind of gone a little bit quiet. Bajaman Cam's on the back of Fraser, but once again, they're just kind of DRS swapping. So, not Fraser, Farmer. Fraser Farmer is, well, tough to say the least, I guess. So, it seems like Fraser Clegg and Noodles might be a fight for the podium positions. Be interesting to see how this one finishes up after 26. We'll have the DRS here is the Aston Martin. See if he can make a move. Noodles might be feeling the pressure. He might not. He might have calmed things a little bit down too much. Or maybe he just turned the engine down, put it into a battery recovery mode, just so he'd have enough to defend from. Nothing coming down into turn number 1. Staying in behind is the Aston Martin driver. Although we do know that turn number 3 is your next best option with the DRS. Looks to be closing up with the power of that DRS. As they are both looking to be in battery recovery mode. To the inside, pulls the Aston Martin, going up the inside and pulling the move done well before the braking zone. Alpine just having a look into the braking zone, but nothing that Noodles could really do. It's very, very tough to fight that one. You kind of got no DRS. Nothing really to fight with, as Nut Hammers come into pit lane. And it does, I've had a look, it's the medium tyres for the Red Bull driver. So, if you want to know tyre wear, ladies and gentlemen, looks like you can take the hards almost all the distance. about 2/3, roughly speaking. A little bit more than that. So Fraser did get that move done. And, well, Noodles is now falling off that just that little bit. He's already out of that DRS window. So he's going to really have to focus up here for these last 5 or so laps if he wants the power of the DRS and the power of the podium, as Ryan Cox has come into pit lane. So if I'm not mistaken, he pit, and he has pit. So he was on 11-lap old tyres. He's gone onto the medium tyre. So I do know that he started on the mediums. So it's only Mozza and Nat Hammer who started on the harder tyres. So maybe he does want some action. Who knows? As we have a yellow flag, I'm sorry to cut you off. Farmer Sam is out, and once again, he's no safety car. And he is on the left-hand side of the track, if anybody is listening, and I believe he is now gone. So I thought that might have been a safety car, and if I was Ryan Cox, I would have been fuming if that had been a safety car. Yeah, very, very easy to end your day here at Baku, but I'm shocked we've had no safety cars. And I'll just jump in for your penalties. So just Joshy with his 10-second. Lord Mahavir must have, the game would have forced him to do his 10-second, as Benjamin Cam's got his 3-second as well. We'll have a look at the position changes as well for you. So Sir Joshy's up 1. Ryan Cox is down that 1 position, although he has pulled in, I think, about 2 seconds on this lap. So, or maybe 1.5, being brave, as he did do a purple middle sector. So I'd imagine it wouldn't be too long before he's up the back of Sir Joshy. Fraser Clegg's up the 1 with Noodles got 4. Pepsi, 12th. I can tell you that he didn't get a time in qualifying. So maybe the plan for Pepsi in the future is no qualifying laps? Maybe. Maybe he loves Baku. With Aussie Goat picking up a penalty. So he's also got a 3-second time penalty. Badgerman Cam's up 4. Biggest loser so far is Lord Mahavir, down 5, although he did serve that 10-second. So might not be quite as fair as maybe it should be. But we'll go to Ryan. We'll go on board with him as watch him come through. This will be a fastest lap attempt, as he's done a purple sector 1 there. Wouldn't shock me if there's a couple of purple sectors that do follow along. Coming down up into the castle section, clipping the left on the wall hand side there just a little bit, or maybe that's just my poor lines, poor commentary, as does come through the section where we did see the Aston Martin driver lose the car. I'd imagine on the soft mediums, shouldn't be soft mediums, the fresh mediums, not the soft mediums. The soft mediums don't exist. Should be no problem. He is closing towards the back of the McLaren, so we will have a little bit of a fight here in a moment's time. Coming around into your final couple of corners now. To the right, a little bit of a slight move on the steering wheel. To the left, want to try and minimise as much movement as you can through that section. Qualifying and race, the more steering input you put through there, the more pressure you put on the tyres, you're gonna lose the rear of the car. Gap's already up to 2.2 seconds, so he's pulling in that time very, very quickly. It's fastest lap of a 39.6. I'd argue that's probably what I could do in qualifying trim. Understanding that he's burned off a little bit of fuel, but he's on the medium of tyre and he is closing up to the back of the McLaren driver. So we'll stay with the leaders. So will be a fight here in a moment's time, as we do have Nat Hammer as well, trying to close in, trying to see what positions he can make. So we'll go towards him in a moment's notice. Well, do you know what the update's about? Do you want to give our viewers at home? As we do have a yellow flag. Is that a Ferrari driver of Aussie Goat who's broken his front wing? Aussie 2K Goat. Apologies, Aussie underscore 2K Goat, as Lord Mahavir is making the move on Benjamin Cam down into turn number 1. So he's up another position here. Nat Hammer 4 seconds away from the next car. Ryan Cox is in that DRS window, so we'll stay with him. Imagine this will be a simple move for himself. Down into turn number 1 will be the easiest place for him to make it, and with the grip of the mediums, it's just more about don't run into the back of the car ahead, and then simply make that move with the DRS. So as Aussie 2K Goat has come into pit lane, so potentially some softs, have a crack at that fastest lap, and we'll see. I'll jump up that fastest lap for you so you know what you're jumping for. Aussie, I'll just say it one more time, but I think it was a 39.5 or 39.6 for memory, but we'll check for you in a moment as Ryan Cox coming down into turn number 1 in the slipstream, in the tow of the McLaren with the DRS, has got the fresher tyres, looks to the outside as they are lapping a car on the left-hand side of your screen there. Elects not to make a move. Daniel Starr kindly getting out of the way. As do have the other Ferrari. Is he potentially going to be in the way? No. So he just lets them go and comes in behind his teammate. So potentially turn number 3 is the way to go on board with the Ferrari. You look to the right-hand side there. Bye-bye, McLaren. And hello to P number 1 once again for Ryan Cox. And he'll take away the race lead. And it always seemed that people were going to guess that he was going to take away the lead of the race. But just have a look what tyre. Yeah, so Aussie Goat has gone on to the soft tyres for yourself. Penalties once again, 10 seconds for Joshy. That was contact with a DNF car, so I'd imagine he'll be able to get rid of that. Aussie 2K, you've got your own 3 second. And Badgerman Cam's also got a 3 second as well. And fastest laps for you, 39.6 is what you're targeting. If you can, Aussie Goat, if you want that fastest lap. Your current fastest lap is a 42.6. Not sure if you're listening, but if you are, well, there you go. There's some information. As Joshy's already lost. Big gap, 2 seconds down to Ryan Cox, so not really a question of who's going to be able to win this one now. So we've had a multitude of tyres used. It's, well, yeah, everyone's kind of needs to make stops. And there's your position changes as well. Well, take away with that. And my controller is running out of battery. Jubbly lovely. Jubbly lovely. No, we'll be right. Should be right. If it dies, it dies. Usually says that, and then, you know, I just keep going with it until it actually dies. The win of having 2 controllers. I assume you have 2 controllers. Who doesn't have 2 controllers? If you don't have 2 controllers, like, how are you playing video games with, like, anybody who ever comes over to your house? How is that done? Is it done? I don't know. Right then. Well then, it's getting real here, ladies and gentlemen, on the Twitch stream. Did you not have an entire rugby team that you went and had like an end of season party or whatever the hell you call it with? Same thing. And how many games did you play of rugby this season? Be put in your place. As Pepsi has picked up a 3-second time penalty, so maybe a little bit of excitement towards the end as GLX Cam has retired and his car was bouncing up in the air. And he is in the middle of a track, so be careful for anybody coming around that section of it, but too late to pull out a safety car now. Although knowing this game, wouldn't have put out a safety car anyway. As the gap to Keith from Pepsi is slowly coming down, so can Pepsi keep on to this P5 finish? Potentially not, as Keith's already in that 3-second time window. But we're on to the last lap with Ryan now, so we'll stay on board with the Ferrari driver coming through sector number 1 for the last time. He has been, I think, class of the field. You know, he led the race away, had a fine pit stop, decided he wanted that fastest lap attempt, and, well, he elected to go for it, and he's pulled it off, and he's been able to get into the race lead. Penalty or no penalty for Sir Joshy, he's back into the race lead, coming up into the castle section one last time. is the Ferrari driver. And kind of what can't you say about this performance? Well, you can't say that it's been a bad one. It's been all well and good for Ferrari, taking away another win. And well, it kind of seems that everything works in their favour as there is some form of issue for Pepsi. So potentially a big lock up there coming down into turn number 3. But we'll stay with Ryan Cox as he comes through your final braking zone and your final couple of corners. Absolute stellar performance from himself. It's what we kind of see week in, week out with himself, whether it be here or elsewhere in league racing. In the Ferrari here this evening, I've seen him do it in a couple of different cars, in a couple of different leagues, but as he comes across the line, Ryan Cox will take your race victory here this evening. There's a little bit of a celebratory wiggle there for the Ferrari. Glad he hasn't lost the car there. Sir Joshy for McLaren will come home in P2, as game has given him a 10-second time penalty, unserved penalty, but I'd imagine the stewards will get involved with that one. But we will see what happens. Fraser Clegg, been interesting. Kind of not quite the battle we thought we were going to have for the podium. But, you know, it was kind of a bit more of a fight nonetheless. Fraser Clegg coming across the line for P3. Noodles for P4. That issue for Pepsi is giving him no front wing. So a little bit of unluckiness for himself on the last lap. And he'll be lifting. So watch out, Lord. As Keith will come home in P5. He came out of the lobby, got a disconnect, required an invite, and still finished in the top 5. As Pepsi will come across the line with Lord Mahavir in behind, although the 3-second time penalty will have those two drivers swap. So Red Bull first on track, but they'll swap. So the Williams and the Red Bull P7 for Pepsi still, I think, a stellar performance for himself. I think that's up 10 positions if I'm not mistaken. Mash coming around into P9 with Nat Hammer coming around up into your top 10. And, well, the man in the comms box with me loves to call this man, Nat Hammer, a boat. I think it's fair you can't say he's a boat after he's just got a top 10 in Tier 1. I'd argue based on his pace, he probably could have got it on his very, very worn, harder tyres, but we'll give the Ferrari driver his moment up on the podium as we'll see the champagne be sprayed all around, and it's fair to say that it's deserved for Ryan Cox here this evening. He led us all the way through, and yeah, like our co-commentator here said, didn't need that last pit stop, but went for it and it worked away anyway. I'd imagine there would have been some words to be said if it didn't quite end in the result that it did. But you don't need to worry about that. Ryan Cox is your winner. Sir Joshy in behind him with Fraser Clegg finishing in P3. So 3 cars on the podiums. Your race winner and your fastest lap, as we've got a good old communicating with online servers, is your Ferrari. Your cleanest driver as well. And then most overtakes. And driver of the day is Pepsi. And I think it's fair to say that he is the driver of the day when he started down in P17. And for those at home, we'll go and collect. We'll go and collect this for you. So if you need, went and collect the race director or parts of the race director for you. So hopefully, if you do need, come back to the stream, and we've got that for you. But a tough fight for our drivers, and so that front 3, Ryan Cox, Joshy, and Clegg. We'll meet you in the podium interviews, and we'll see you in there in a moment's notice. We'll get myself across as we speak. As we will just wait on our podium finishers to get in here, and whilst we wait, we'll get the cars, because why not? Game's asking me to update to the latest version as per usual. Don't really want that, do I? So we'll get the showroom up. So P3 was the Aston Martin, so we'll get that up for you first. and we'll wait for their arrival. Yeah, definitely. I mean, qualifying didn't necessarily go his way, as we are waiting for those to jump in. So, once again, Fraser, Ryan Cox, and Sir Joshy, get in the podium interviews, good sir, as we'll give them another couple of moments to wait. Hopefully we can interview at least one of them. But half that race, or majority of that race, was seen by yourself from the viewing box at home. But how would you sum that one up? We did. So I have not allowed no comms from drivers. We'll see if we can get that. We have been joined. We'll get it kicked off, and Josh can let us know if we can't hear him once again. Maybe I've messed up. We'll see what happens. Joshy, have you got us there, good sir? He has got us. So let us know at home if you can't be heard. Joshy, congratulations, finishing on the podium. How did you feel about that one? Yeah, no, definitely. Look, doesn't matter how it comes, whether it be someone else's fault or something else, magical moves or incidents, nonetheless. But look, well driven from yourself. Always kind of seem you're up there. Couldn't quite fight for the win here this evening, but congratulations are most certainly in order. And we also have been joined by our winner. Not sure if we can be heard at home. I haven't seen. It can be beautiful. But I believe Ryan has joined us now in from the Ferrari. Kind of seemed like a calm race for yourself, and then you had that late pit stop there to try and take away that fastest lap. How did you feel out there tonight? Yeah, definitely. Every single point counts. I'm not going to lie. I was a bit confused while you were pitting, and then the first lap you pulled in like 1.5 seconds. I'm like, okay. He clearly is playing 4D chess. I'm not a very good chess player, but he's clearly playing 4D chess. So certainly congratulations, and well, brave calls worked out in a brave ending for yourself. So, not sure if we've been joined by our final podium sitter, and it doesn't seem like we have. So, Venti, any final words of wisdom before we get finalised here this evening? Yeah, Baku. I must admit that I personally love it. But look, league racing for us this week, it is not over. So next time will be tomorrow night with our Tier 2 boys. Hopefully they give us a good show. And then Wednesday night, we'll have our Tier 3 drivers give it a good old crack. And hopefully one of them has a little bit of weather in there, give us a little bit of action up in the comms box. Might be myself joining you tomorrow, might not be. We'll see how it does go. I do hope those at home have enjoyed tonight's broadcast at least. And thank you to Venti for jumping in late. And once again, congratulations to everybody who finished up on the podium, our 3 podium sitters, and as well as everybody else, I believe, who finished the race ended up with points as well. So everybody ends up with points here this evening. But that will be it and all for tonight. So I do thank everybody else for jumping in the chat. And I do hope you'll have a good rest of your Monday evening. And have a good Tuesday tomorrow as well. And we'll see you tomorrow night for our Tier 2 boys. Bye-bye for now, and everybody have a good one.